Breaking down a big week in combat sports as we have Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou on March 8th and UFC 299, Sean O'Malley and Chito Vera on March 9th. So we're going to start with the boxing, and I'm going to go right ahead and say Francis Ngannou wins this fight. I believe his performance against Tyson Fury did nothing more but give him confidence, and not that he needed any more of it, but this is a guy who didn't know what he was getting himself into when he stepped inside that boxing ring, and he went up against arguably the best there is right now to do it. And not only did he held his own, but I thought he got the better of Tyson Fury. He dropped Tyson Fury. And not only that, but if you look at the rounds, he kind of manhandled Tyson Fury. He dominated him in the clinch. He showed that there was a very clear strength advantage. Every time Tyson would hit him, his punches would completely go off of his guard. He had a very strong high guard, did Francis Ngannou. And if he ever did land clean, Francis ate it like a tic-tac. There was a point where Tyson threw an elbow as though he was in an MMA cage. He wasn't, though. And Francis seemed like he just got landed on by a fly. He was just like, oh, what was that? So not only does Francis Ngannou have a iron chin on him, but he's a very, very big and strong individual. This will be the first time Anthony Joshua is fighting someone who's as strong as him, if not stronger, and it's going to be interesting to see. Usually Anthony Joshua is the guy who goes in there and uses his size and his strength to overwhelm people, but this time he's going to be the weaker guy in there. I don't think he's going to be stronger than Francis, especially up close in the clinch. I think Francis has that over every boxer in the game. I think his clinch is going to be a big problem for a lot of people, especially the way he uses it. So with that MMA techniques where he basically does frames. It's basically takedown defense in MMA, but without the threat of a takedown, and it's great for Francis. And then he punches on the break. I think Francis gets the job done. I think he's going to be confident, more confident than ever. He just got, over on Tyson Fury, and now he's coming to fight Anthony Joshua. So I'm going to go with Francis Ngannou. And one more point I'd like to add is Francis Ngannou, when he hits Anthony Joshua, I think it's going to snowball and the momentum will build, and I think Anthony Joshua will break. I don't think Anthony Joshua has the heart to keep it going, and I believe we saw that in the first Andy Ruiz fight, and I think Anthony Joshua, not that he won't get up, but he doesn't tend to right the ship. He doesn't tend to get back on the road. He tends to let the negative momentum snowball and avalanche and consume him as opposed to overcoming it. So I'm going Francis Ngannou. Now we've got UFC 299. Sean O'Malley versus Chito Vera. But we're going to start from the bottom. We're going to break this down. Mateus Gamrot versus Rafael Dos Anjos. Mateus Gamrot is coming off of an injury. It should be his time. He is the younger guy. RDA's been here before, but due to the fact that Mateus is coming off of an injury, I would not be surprised if RDA turns back the clock and shows people, hey guys, I'm still here, and there's still fights for me. And hey, if he beats Mateus Gamrot, don't be surprised if he calls out Conor McGregor, because that fight was going to be made at one point in time. And personally for me, I think I would rather watch Conor versus RDA than Conor versus Michael Chandler. I think that's a bigger fight, but who knows? Moving on. Curtis Blades versus Jailton Almeida. This is an interesting one. Curtis Blades is a wrestler. Almeida is a grappler. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. He wants this. He wants to grapple with Curtis, so it's going to be interesting. I wonder if it's going to be one of those fights where you have two grapplers that agree not to take each other down, and they're just going to be banging on the feet. I really hope not. I'd really rather watch two grapplers grapple than two grapplers do bad striking. So that's my take on that one. I'm going to give it to Almeida. I'll give it to Almeida. But Curtis Blades is all right, too. He only loses to the very best. So we'll see with that one. Then you got Peter Yan versus Song Yadong. I'm going to go with... I'll probably go with Peter Yan. I think he probably gets it done over Song Yadong. Even though Song Yadong is considerably younger than him, and Peter Yan's getting up there in age for a bantamweight, he's kind of had his time. I don't think he's as hungry as Song Yadong either, so I'm kind of flip-flopping here. I'll say Song Yadong. I'll flip-flop and say Song Yadong. Same thing, Jack Della Maddalena. He's 10 years younger, guys. 10 years younger than Gilbert Burns. And Gilbert Burns was injured I meant to say injured, but I was distracted there by the green screen going away. Gilbert Burns was injured in the Bilal Muhammad fight. He had a really bad shoulder injury. That's why he wasn't really able to get his punches off, but it is what it is. He's getting older. This is what the sport does. It's designed to break you. It's fighting. There is no safe way to fight, right? Even in sparring, you're going to break your body down. So it is what it is. So even in the practice room, you're still fighting. That's what the sport is. It's chaos. It's damage. That's what it is. So I think the miles on Gilbert Burns are catching up to him, and I think Jack Della Maddalena gets it done. We're going to see a coronation of him, or maybe not. Maybe Gilbert Burns turns away the young contender. Who knows? But I'm leaning towards Jack Della. Then we got Kevin Holland versus Michael Venom Page. This is a fun one. In my heart, I want Michael Venom Page to win. Just because his highlight reel is pretty insane and his ability is insane, his talent is insane. However, he hasn't fought the best competition. That's the one knock on him. He's fought really low-level competition. He fought Douglas Lima at one point in time, but Lima knocked him out. And then in a rematch, I think he won a decision, did Michael Venom Page. So I don't know. I think Kevin Holland's just as long. I think he's just as rangy. I think he's, got a really great right hand. I think if that right hand of Kevin Holland lands on anybody, it could put them out. And I think Kevin Holland probably has better grappling than MVP too. Like I think more than probably, you know what I mean? Most likely. So I'm gonna go with Kevin Holland logically, but my heart, I'd like to see Michael Venom Page get the job done, Michael Venom Page getting beat in the store. That Bellator song. Fire. Then we're going to go with Dustin Poirier and Benoit Saint Denis. I'm going Benoit Saint Denis here, folks. Benoit Saint Denis is the younger guy. This is the old guard versus the new guard in a lot of ways on this card. And I think the God of War, Benoit Saint Denis, here to fight, and he's hungry, and he hasn't been where Dustin Poirier's been. Whereas Dustin Poirier, he's kind of been there, done that. He's got his hot sauce business. He's got the Good Fight Charity Foundation. He's got a lot of other things that he's paying attention to as opposed to focus solely on fighting. Benoit Saint Denis is focused solely on fighting. So I think that's a big difference, and I think we're going to see that come through. And I don't think it's going to be easy. I think Dustin Poirier is gonna have his moments, but I could see Benoit. I mean, listen, he didn't have his moments against Gaethje in his last fight. He got knocked out kind of surprisingly with that head kick that didn't even appear to land all that well. So who knows? He's coming off that knockout. I think Benoit Saint Denis gets it done, and we're gonna start to usher in the new guard. You got Charles Oliveira versus Arman Tsarukyan coming up too, and I think that's gonna be the same thing. I think Arman Tsarukyan gets the job done there, and I think the new guard is gonna start to infiltrate the UFC's top 5 at lightweight. Then you have the main event: Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Chito Vera. I'm going with Marlon Chito Vera, guys. He won the first fight. If you watch the first fight, it wasn't a fluke. Chito was holding his own, if not winning the fight, in terms of sometimes it's not about who's landing the strikes. It's about, what's actually happening. So even though O'Malley was, pumping his jab and landing these little strikes, Chito was never losing sight of him. It's not like Chito wasn't cutting off the cage. He was. It's not like he wasn't landing his own shots. He was. He was constantly moving forward and pressuring O'Malley. He was, tracking him up against the cage. He was putting him up against the cage. He never let O'Malley make him follow him. You get what I'm saying? If you watch guys like Ian Gary versus Jeff Neal, if you watch that fight, Jeff Neal had no idea how to cut off the cage. He was just following Ian Gary all around in the circle. And, at that point, if you're the counter fighter, it's easy to get things off. And I also think Chito Vera is very patient. He's very measured, disciplined, and he's not just going to lunge in there like an Aljamain Sterling and get caught and knocked out. So I'm going with Marlon Chito Vera. I think he gets the job done for a second time and is the new champion. And maybe they do a trilogy fight. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you agree, disagree, it really doesn't matter. Just join the discussion, follow for more, and leave a like if you enjoyed the time spent. Thank you. You are all appreciated.